Alright, we're back with another exciting episode of VRChat. Now, previously on VRChat, we didn't play anything, but we did watch the entirety of Greylock, and that was back in November 2024. It was very scary, and we were all very scared. And I peed my pants. Anyway, so we're here, and you might be thinking, why am I a protogen? Now, I was totally not like, ERPing on Alt 5 minutes before the stream, totally not. Anyway, moving on from that. We are here. We have our friend Kyre here as a skunk, and now we shall go, we're going to be watching a couple of Nexpo videos, because that's what everyone's doing nowadays. Reacting to stuff. But anyway, I've just been busy with like making like German stuff as well as like the tier list video, and I haven't really been feeling like streaming that often. I know like last year I was like, yo, we're gonna stream a lot this year, but I just haven't really been feeling like streaming. I guess we're going on to the retirement arc or something. But okay, let me turn the music off in the game because we need to watch some scary stuff. Alright, so this is gonna be a short stream, by the way. It's not gonna be long. These 3 Nexpo videos total to about like 2 hours, which is not that long. We have 3. We have Instagram's Darkest Rabbit Hole featuring Nick Crowley, Japan's Strangest Unsolved Mystery, and then the last one, which was uploaded 3 days ago, is called Oakburn and the Misery of 1997.
In showing off his mini boots.
So let me get the first one loaded really quick. And we have Taku here. Yeah, it's gonna be short. So in the meantime, I actually made some humongous changes to our VTuber model, which I did show the chat room. Warning: I currently have allow untrusted URLs disabled. That means some regular elements of video player may not function as expected. Do I have this turned on already? I think I do. I don't remember. Comfort, all right, and safety. Response. What? I think this is out of date, but I'm pretty sure we have. Let me make this bigger. Okay, alright, so I need to first of all change this. I need a little bit of rain. Yeah, I need to pull the video out as well. So wait, why is it not working? Oh, right. Okay, hold on. Okay. Fucking massive. There we go. Dog's glitching. Maybe, like, make it a bit higher. There we go. Alright. Should we have chat on screen as well? There's chat. Should I have the model on as well? Like this, boom. Hello, here's the model. Just imagine this model is in VRChat. Like I said before, I made some like insane adjustments to the model, and now this model looks amazing, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks amazing. I know it does. Okay. Did I want spatial audio turned on or off? I forgot which one was better. I think I turned it off. Holy shit. Yeah. do I get rid of the mouse? Okay, I shall also be doing some epic reactions. How'd they get pictures of me? Instagram, Doctor's Rabbit Hole. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like, what's popular in China and stuff nowadays? Are these insane filters that make you look like so much younger. Also,
collapses in China. Twisters.
Is it Friends logo? Sorry. Turn up a little bit. Alright, so I just want to make this comment really quick. So when I was watching, so my mom and dad, right, they have this like Chinese cable television installed, right? Like a little Chinese cable box. And like, I saw this advertisement and it was about this like 60-year-old Chinese lady with a lot of makeup and surgery that made her look like a 20 and 30-year-old. And they show, she was like talking about it, and they showed like before and after like photos of her. And I don't know, when I was watching that, I just felt really disturbed actually. If you know what I mean. I just felt like it just looked disturbing. Because in the before picture, she had like, you know, lots of wrinkles and like she was aging clearly, right? But then after all this like surgery and makeup, she looked like a 20 or 30-year-old. And you see her like posting like Instagram like pictures, selfies of herself. I just felt very creeped out and disturbed by it. That's just how I would describe it. Oh shit, should I dim the lighting? Oh, like that? It's really weird. Speaking of disturbing. I'll dim it like this, because if I dim it too much, she looks kind of scary. There you go. Alright. Let's continue.
View. And over in one of Reddit's darkest corners, a peculiar mystery awaits. A user named Maria has just uncovered a series of Instagram accounts, all equally unsettling, uncanny, and terrifying.
What?
I came across a post on r/Instagram where someone mentioned these creepy Instagram accounts of people who are seemingly pretending to be kids. It reminds me of Pipergate in a way, and I feel like all of these pages
plastic
are
surgery
run by the same person because of the horrendous editing style that makes my eyes bleed. Many of the photos on this account are an edit of this goofy face on a real person's body, and a lot of the bodies are in suggestive poses, which makes me think this is a definite fetish account. Is this just a really, really, really weird hobby? It seems like the poster's first language is French.
Oh, of course,
and
French.
Many of the posts are just generally weird and hard to understand.
I remember I saw this.
I'm curious
this Asian
what you
billboard
guys think about this.
called like Ugly Kids or something. And it was like a family portrait, right? Like a family photo. And the wife and husband looked really like handsome, and then the children looked like ugly. And it was because it was like a anti-surgery ad.
Truthsticks 11,
like plastic surgery ad.
Stephanie Schooling, and Smart Schoolboy 9. At a cursory glance, it's clear that all of these are connected. They all incorporate images of children, edited in a way in which their faces rest in the trenches of the uncanny valley. They all exhibit heavy synthetic makeup.
That's
have
disturbing.
massive lips. Their heads are disproportionate. The saturation seems to be cranked up. All of these rest at the precipice of visual overload and absolute depravity. Walls of text are thrown in our face about school, friends, things they're interested in, entire facets of their lives. But it's clear that these quote-unquote children, as they're presented,
How's the volume?
do not even exist.
Also, it reminds me of Macaulay Culkin for some reason. Down, down, down again.
It goes without saying that we've seen this type of behavior before. People online trying their hand at creating an ARG in hopes of generating online attention and viral clicks. But even still, I wonder, is this what we're dealing with here? On the account TruthSticks11, many of the early posts carry a considerable amount of irony. Their uploads take an almost condescending tone, lambasting the rise of online predators, following and commenting on the profiles of young boys. They take on this alias of an overly concerned parent and make post after post after post, sharing advice about potential danger online. In many ways, this contradicts everything we've seen so far in our limited investigation. This doesn't exactly add up, especially considering that just a few months later, and completely out of nowhere, TruthSticks begins to exhibit the very behavior they're criticizing. From March 2022 and onward, they morph from a concerned parent on a mission against online predators to displaying images of their supposed son in compromising positions, sharing a myriad of highly disturbing photo edits, and even begin to follow a handful of accounts that immediately set off red flags. TruthSticks11's erratic behavior appears like one massive self-report, someone on a tirade against the very thing they turned out to be, or perhaps have been all along. None of this made any sort of sense, leading many to speculate
Telling
that,
the truth
while
was this,
yes, this
like you
is
said, some
insanely
weird
creepy,
ARG thing.
is any of it real? What in the actual fuck?
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah, I agree.
Really fucking weird. Not really sure the reason behind it. Maybe to groom kids or something, but it's really odd. This is probably the most disturbing thing ever uncovered on this subreddit. I asked the other day if anything actually sinister has ever been on here, but now I have my answer. I'm very glad that this sick person is getting exposed. If there's any exploitation material on their account, like some have been saying, nobody here should hesitate to report it to the police. Understandably,
CSEM, what's that?
blew up. People left and right poured in, eager to find out who was doing this and why. It took hardly any time at all for Redditors to uncover other accounts in the same vein too,
Let me see.
as TruthSticks and Schoolboy were far from the only ones involved here. As it turned out, there was a schoolgirl Teresa, New Girl
TruthSticks
12,
has
a Stephanie
18,000
and
followers
a trove
now.
of others, all spread out across various social platforms. By outward appearances, and with so many accounts involved, this almost looks like it's being done by a group.
Oh, wait.
I mean, it has to be. They talk to each other, like each other's photos. There's no way this schoolboy dude has enough time to run all of these, especially for something like an ARG, right?
Yeah, it seems to be
Well, not exactly.
a weird ARG thing.
You see, Schoolboy, across all of his accounts, has a very, very
It's
strange way of
TruthSticks11
putting
and
on
TruthSticks11
various
underscore.
personas.
But a lot of their
And
posts have been
on nearly
deleted.
every single video,
Guess.
Before this video entered production, the profile of Smart Schoolboy 9, the centerpiece of this story, One of the only accounts with original, uploaded videos by a discernible person was taken down. It's unclear if this was done because of policy violations or if he's scrubbing his online presence, but as it stands, this one is gone. That's not to say that there aren't archives though, so pardon the potato quality. On the Smart Schoolboy 9 account, we can find a plethora of images and video of what appears to be a man dressed up in a school uniform. We can see him outside on walks, getting ready for school, and showing off his mini boots that he has a very strong fascination with. It goes without saying that this person is nowhere near the age of a child, despite his efforts to appear that way.
Nice face
On
blaster.
nearly all of his captions, he talks about his life in school, his experiences with other boys, reportedly also aged 8, 9, and 10, and even appears to gain access to classrooms on multiple occasions. So far, this behavior is incredibly weird and repulsive. However, these videos aren't outright illegal. Because of this, and combined with the activity on truth sticks, some have passed this entire thing off as nothing but a massive LARP. Someone with far too much free time on their hands, and with very, very
That
weird
-1
fixations.
download.
But after diving into this a bit more, though, I've found that that isn't quite the case. There's something I gotta show you.
We'll return after these messages.
Inspector Gadget? No.
Alright guys, before we get to that,
Sponsor?
I'd like to tell you about tonight's video sponsor.
Oh, let me take my cup of cross. I finished drinking my tea.
In today's world, online privacy is feeling more and more like a pipe dream. Something we once all felt like we had, but never really do. Every single day, everything you do online can be tracked by both your internet service provider and anyone else on your network, granting them unfettered access to your online footprint. Because of that, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on a list somewhere because of the research I was doing for this video. Oh, but wait. No, I won't, because for the past year, I've been using NordVPN. NordVPN is one of my favorite tools to protect my online privacy. With the simple click of a button, my IP
Anyone
address
here
is
actually
masked
use
and my online
NordVPN?
activity is safeguarded behind a wall of next-generation encryption. NordVPN doesn't track, collect, or share any data that moves through its servers, ensuring that you can achieve a clean, secure browsing
So we all know of the
experience
honey
with
scam,
no one
right?
peering over your shoulder.
Do you think
Right now,
NordVPN
you can get a 2-year plan
is going
at a
to be the
huge
next
discount by using my
honey?
link.
Do you think there's like some weird
NordVPN.com/Nexpo.
underhanded
That link will get you
things
the
happening
best
right
deal
now?
on NordVPN, and it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Once again, that's NordVPN.com/Nexpo, or click the link in the description below.
Yeah, I use a free
Thank
one
you so
that
much to Nord
Taku
for sponsoring tonight's video. Now let's get back to it.
suggested, and it works fine. Free. Speaking of honey, there's a honeycomb in the background. Anyway, this video is sponsored by Honey.
In the current online discussion, there hasn't been much said about the account Stephanie Stansfield. However, interestingly, it's one of Schoolboy's earliest and arguably most disturbing.
Link? I'll add it
Dating back to
in
2019,
the video
this
description
man took on a
when I
persona
upload this onto
called
YouTube.
Stephanie. Since the creation of this page, he's gone forth to make a Twitter account, a Facebook page, and even
I'll add it
numerous
to the
other
description of the
Instagram
YouTube video,
handles,
Doc.
all under this alias. While he gives his other pages a considerable amount of attention, he, for some reason, took a strange liking to this one in particular. All across Stephanie's profiles, he can be seen dressing as her, discussing their experience in grade school, and, weirdest of all,
Dang. Yikes.
In a twist that comes as no surprise, the man behind this rabbit hole expresses a fantasy. And in our hands, we effectively have another Piper Gate.
You know there's an email called Jorkin
Daily Capper.
that Cherno has?
Stephanie Stansfield.
I was actually watching Cherno when I was on the John. He's playing Voice of the Void. And Voice of the Void has a Christmas update right now.
Hi.
From Stephanie Stansfield.
You can probably
Norfolk,
find
Milton
it
Keynes, MK11,
on
dressed
7
for
TV.
school. I really love it in year 7, and I love writing poetry. My Morphet music heart. I race to complete
Like
my
a Potter,
poems when
if you
I've got an
search up
early start.
Jorkin,
Heart racing,
Jorkin
mixed race rhythms,
on
maximizing
7 TV.
miracles. Rice with rap on the map, my
a
Kennington
monkey
London
jorking it.
syllables. Dancing though I know my underwear might show if I lean forward.
Ew.
Good. Aside from the repulsive celebration of being able to spot a child's underwear, Stephanie makes a reference to Milton Keynes, a region just north of London in the UK. This, combined with various other media he shared,
Year
quickly
7.
led onlookers to realize that this man has been making his rounds across the city of London for years.
It's like
Also
an
in this
11-year-old
post are clear
or
references
12.
to poetry,
If you don't know.
something we'll find to come up later. Upon searching for the name Stephanie Stansfield,
Yeah, it's like
on
11 or
Google,
12.
we're able to find traces of this person in the wild. For instance,
true
hidden
empty,
on
yeah.
a random page of the Kennington Runoff, a news website serving the titular neighborhood in South London, we can see Stephanie chiming in on an article.
Wait, what thing
about a
happened,
youth
Doc?
club.
What's the schloping incident?
Here, though, their mannerisms surprisingly appear a bit tamer. Are there any unusual or rare
Anna
pictures
cranking her
including landing
hog.
areas, lifts, etc. of Caring Point? The tower block that stood at Hotspur Street from 1969 to 2000? I learned what happened to Cairn Point, but have yet to find any demolition pictures, even on the 20th anniversary of its demolition, or pictures of the play space that temporarily replaced the building. Thank you for any research into Cairn Point.
Schlorping.
If we had no prior context to this person, this comment would exist in complete normalcy.
Oh, you're talking about
In
this?
a way, it's almost like this person isn't even the Stephanie Stansfield that we've come to know so far. The one showcasing eerie edits, pretending to be a child, creating
Yeah.
riddles and poetry. It's like that persona's gone. You know, part of me wants to believe that this person has no ties to the rabbit hole, but even here, I noticed that they just couldn't help themselves. Stephanie Stansfield inquired about a play area, a place obviously associated with kids. Doing any research online
wish
about this
Nexpo
alleged
spoke
play place
louder.
leads to nothing. It
the
existed
one
for such a
criticism I
short
have.
period of time that hardly anyone recalls that it was even there. It was a blip in history, so insignificant and overshadowed by the disaster that came before it, that it's hard.
Sorry, I don't want to like talk over it. But yeah, that's the one criticism I have with like Nexpo videos. I understand why he has like this really, you know, silent and quiet voices to make it immersive and stuff. But I feel like, it's like, what, can you speak up? So you have to turn it up. But then like the other parts of videos are way too loud. Like the, you know, the music, the ambience and stuff, and the atmosphere, those sound effects are way too loud. I don't think he had subtitles here. But anyway, let's begin. We'll continue.
Worth mentioning. Yet Stephanie recalls it to such a degree that they've been on the hunt for any pictures of it. This also seems like even as far back as the year 2000, this person was hanging around play areas, leading me to wonder, was he up to his same antics back then, or is this act fairly recent? Also on the internet is another link, this time leading us to a PDF file of a 2018 publication by a London charity called the Streatham Society. Within this, they share a myriad of news and happenings around this area of London. However, on page 11, they include a segment called the Poetry Corner, in which we can spot a very familiar name. Hi to the Streatham Society, I'm Stephanie Stansfield and shy. I'm 12 years of age, year 7. I'm London born and lived in Streatham for a while. I've written a poem. I asked my half-brother what he remembers about the area. Then I put my thoughts onto paper. I could have written much more, but I wanted to keep it short, and yet still include a little tribute to June Whitfield. So it's as if I've traveled through time to include so much. I hope my poem is of some use. Yours sincerely, Stephanie. After glancing at her writing, it's abundantly clear that this poem was not written by a 12-year-old. It shares details of buildings that were there in the 1990s, as well as references to TV actors that would be not only unrealistic for a child to remember, but impossible. But even through this mess, there is something to latch onto. In the poem, Stephanie refers to someone who has supposedly fed her this information about his life growing up in London decades prior. It's her half-brother, someone who's old enough to remember all of this.
David?
It's someone called David.
Man, I miss David. You miss David? David used to be in chat.
Back on Reddit, investigators were on a similar path. The name David was circulating as a potential suspect for days, catalyzed by first-hand accounts of those who had encountered a very similar man to this in the wild. Redditors from his area shared tales of a local figure, a man who would dress up like a child, making his rounds as far south as London and as far north as Doncaster. I'll be quite honest, I was really surprised when this guy popped up on my local city's subreddit. It's like one of them things that scared you as a child, then something reminds you of that as an adult, and it puts you back a bit. We're talking like 14-ish years back. I'm 28, almost 29 now.
Same. Oh my god.
So he lived on my street while I was in my last few years of secondary school and first few years of college, age 14 to 17.
It's high school.
He was very
college.
well known by pretty much everyone who lived around that area. There was even a video of him at one point titled Donnie Legend. Me and my brother looked for this today, but couldn't find it. It must be at least 14 to 15 years old now though, so it may be deleted.
It's Nexpo,
He spent a lot of
Kaylee.
time wearing a school
You know
uniform.
Nexpo?
Usually the skirt and boots look, but sometimes a suit. Basically the exact same look from his recent pictures, just with a different school uniform. He carried around a little lunchbox with a mirror glued to one side of it. He used to stand behind trees and watch people in the reflection. He used to follow kids home from school, going tree to tree. There were a few times he was caught looking through people's living room windows that had confronted him in the past. My brothers and stepdad had a few altercations with him. My stepdad and mom especially didn't feel safe living on the same street as him and didn't like how close he lived to the local school, about a 50-second walk. The police were called more times than I'd like to count, and they were never ever concerned. He never committed a crime, according to them. They were very concerned for his safety in this. He was always seen as such a danger, but I honestly just assumed, stupidly as a naive teenager, that this guy didn't know how to use the internet, or at the very least was monitored.
Nexpo, he does
It's
like
horrible
really
he's
long
turned up
form
online, I'm
horror
glad I can
video
now be sure
essays
he's left the
about
local
like,
city.
you know, creepy
My
stuff.
daughter starts
They're
secondary
not always
school
creepy,
next year,
but he
and
does
I'm
long
glad
form
he won't be
videos about like, you know,
around to
weird
terrorize
stuff
her.
on the internet.
I just wish and hope that the authorities would protect the school kids where he is. This man is a known creep. I used to work at the court 20 years
It's
ago,
so silly.
and he was in court in the paper several times for approaching and writing to underage girls while wearing makeup and young girl style clothing. He usually got away without conviction because the courts believed that he didn't intend to do any wrong. He was trying to speak to those girls because he wholeheartedly believed he was a girl of that age.
Okay. Oh, Potter's back.
With
Hello.
the claim that this
Did you
person
find
was
the
roaming
Jorkin
neighborhoods
emote?
as far as 14 years back, along with the statement that schoolboy had wound up in court 20 entire years ago for writing to underage girls. Even then, it's apparent that he's far, far older than I initially thought.
Are you still talking about
This
David?
is how he remembers Karen Point. This is how Stephanie knew so much about an era she never lived in. Doing the math here, at minimum, Smart Schoolboy 9 is at least 40 years old.
How old? 40.
Spin!
When I lived in Doncaster, there was a man who used to walk around dressed as a 1960s schoolboy who looked like he'd walked out of a black and white photo. I'm pretty sure his skin was painted white. People said he was called David.
Oh, classic.
For decades, this man has been haunting neighborhoods around the UK.
Oh, this person's tweets are
that are likely afraid of
protected.
him. Posting pictures
G33X3.
of those that have no knowledge
They
of
locked
his
their
existence, and gravitating towards
Flower,
schools,
hello.
seemingly under the belief that he's a child.
Long time no see.
All
Didn't
the
I haven't streamed in a
activity by
while.
this person, in which he's well-spoken and drops the act, though. Like on his Facebook. He makes it clear that he knows what he's doing. This person is real, and this person is active. A local boogeyman, if you will, that shows no signs of stopping. With the rise of the internet, David has harnessed social media to express his desires, utilizing heavily filtered and often AI-generated images of kids to toe the line of legality.
There you go.
Like we've seen on many of his posts, he emulates parents, putting on a facade of concern for the very people he's allegedly preying on. He falsifies personalities, presenting them to real-world publications as legitimate, and across his many profiles, he follows a laundry list of kids. At the end of the day, Schoolboy and his plethora of alts are just the tip of the iceberg, and for all we know, countless other accounts could be hiding in the void of cyberspace. Personas emulating children, interacting with children, and creating edits of real kids that have
Thank God you don't see it on the
posted
stream, like on-screen chat.
This man follows countless minors, and whether he's physically harmed or has endangered any of them in the real world, at this point, we have no idea. Going by one of his videos, however,
Equal funny?
I truly hope that this isn't the case.
Yikes.
But unfortunately, the evidence isn't very promising.
Wait, what? Wait, which one, Potter? David is reportedly now under investigation by UK police. If you encounter or experience the exploitation of minors, report the incident at report.cybertech.org. Dang. Oh, that was it. Hey. CRZ Jorkin. Who's that? Is that a league? Is that a league player or something? Everything CRZ is like a league player or something, or Dota, or StarCraft. Hey, all right, well that was it. So sorry, I wasn't really. YouTube's gonna be angry at me for not paying attention. So if you just joined, he did do a Nexpo did just say a quick summary about what happened with this video. So there's a weird Instagram account called truth_sticks_11 that supposedly masquerades as a parent, a concerned parent, talking about like weird child predators. And they post very weird pictures of children and like very heavy makeup and stuff. Very disturbing makeup. And they follow a lot of weird children Instagrammers as well. And upon investigation, it turns out that this Truth Sticks 11 person is actually a creepy 40-year-old dude that dresses up as like a weirdo. And allegedly, the last video we just saw was him chasing a minor. And apparently, this David guy is being under investigation by UK police. And he's French. Dog. You know, that's pretty good. Right, nice. So that was 28 minutes. I'm not sure if that didn't feel like 28 minutes. All right, the next one is Japan's Strangest Unsolved Mystery. That's 35 minutes. Yeah, creepy guy, that's to say the least. Welcome back. Oh, thanks. Video contains flashing lights. Warning. Flashing lights. Alan Wake? I don't know what that said.
Monday.
There's a mystery in the woods. Yeah, at first we thought it was like a weird ARG.
The peak is shrouded,
but it turns out to be possibly
it's the
real.
Aftermath of one of the most violent storms to hit the area in months. A search helicopter powers,
and their account still exists on Instagram.
The region for a pair of hikers from Tokyo who set out the day prior and haven't been seen or heard from since. This hunt has been ongoing for hours, sunlight dwindling as search teams comb every crevice, yet find no trace of anyone around. But as nightfall takes its grip, enveloping the area in complete blackness, suddenly, something strange enters their view. Just south of Mount Asahidake, a crudely constructed, massive SOS sign beckons from a clearing. It's undeniable that the missing hikers have made this.
Yeah, not all of them are real, okay. Some of them are like, you know,
with conditions like
this
these,
fun ARG, like spooky game.
Would have been nearly impossible.
It's a mix.
The team swarms the area with newfound hope that these hikers just might be hiding nearby. They search and search and search until finally
Have Voices of the Void?
they find them.
Hey.
About a mile north, the two men emerge from a cave. They are completely disoriented, battered, and exhausted, but most prominently are in complete disbelief that the rescuers found them.
Nice.
As they're pulled up into the aircraft, the search team reassures them that they're gonna be okay before commending them on their efforts while out there. "We couldn't have found you without your help," they claim. "You guys did a really great job building that sign." The men pause for a minute, visibly confused. "I'm sorry. We didn't build the sign.
Aliens.
We have no idea what you're talking about."
There's a ghost particle on the screen. Zeus. Meow. I like the music. It's pretty nice.
You know, I'll admit, the island of Hokkaido is beautiful. It's a landscape adorned with volcanic mountaintops, trails with serene views, and a multitude of steam vents giving the area an almost dreamlike aesthetic. It's no wonder that it's one of the most popular hiking spots in Japan, as no matter what time of year you go, you're bound to have an experience you'll never forget. From the summit of Mount Asahidake, it was 2.6 miles directly south where the SOS sign awaited. Resting in a relatively flat wetland, it was constructed with 19 cleanly cut birch tree logs, each measuring at around 16 feet long. Interestingly, the deviation down here is considerably longer than the main hiking trail on the mountain, making its existence
I'll
entirely
leave it up
perplexing.
to Potter.
As far as it's known,
If he
there
wants
are
to
no
add that
trails
emote.
south of this mountain, implying that whoever built it had to have made their diversion from the north. A detour littered with steep cliffs, a dense forest, and even the turbulent Chubetsu River.
Smug. All right. Yeah,
At this
Cherno
point,
has that emote.
It's completely unknown how this person got here, and for Japanese police, it was undeniable that a mystery was brewing on the mountain. Someone is still out there, likely
Right,
pleading
Walker,
for
hello.
help.
Definitely strange. One day later. Is this from like an indie game or something?
One day later, a second team is dispatched to probe the area for any signs of hikers
looks like
in distress.
a Chilla's
This time,
art game.
with emphasis on the wetland the sign sits in. And while they all held out hope of finding someone still alive, unfortunately, just a few short hours into their search, they'd uncover quite the contrary. Hidden near the SOS sign are scattered human remains covered in bite marks from wildlife.
Oh,
And nearby, a backpack containing various items. A Sony Walkman, 4 cassette tapes,
yeah. Is this
toothpaste,
Nexpo's like
a bar of soap,
crew
and a
making
towel.
this from scratch? That's really well
At
made.
first glance, it's obvious that the belongings and the human bones are connected. However, a curious question lingered in everyone's mind. How did this person with enough energy and strength to build an SOS sign out of 19 massive logs allow themselves to die in nature? For the rescue team, nothing further was discovered that day. For what it's worth, though, this seemed like a pretty open and shut case. Locals
buddy,
have
hello.
claimed that the weather on
Happy
this
New Year.
mountain is volatile, with thunderstorms rolling in with hardly any notice. Perhaps this person got turned around, mistakenly made their way down here, and spent their final days awaiting help. That never came.
Grimblo.
The sight at the SOS sign and the story it tells is grim, but all things considered, this case, again, seemed relatively straightforward. Someone passed away here and built an SOS sign before it happened. The only question really was, who was it? And how exactly did they get here?
2 days later.
Two days pass, and examiners from the Asahikawa Medical University notify Hokkaido police that the human bones belong to a female.
It is a Chilla's art game.
Reportedly, she was about 5 foot 3 inches tall, had type O blood, was somewhere between 20 and 40 years old at the time of her death, carried bone fractures in multiple locations, and died within the span of 1 to 3 years prior. Aside from this, there was no further identifying information about her, and effectively,
That's so interesting
she was
how we can do that. How we can just deduce people's details like that, just based on bones.
Something is wrong. This doesn't make any sense at all.
Aliens.
upon calculating the weight of the SOS logs by utilizing numerous wood weight charts online, I found that 16-foot segments of birchwood weighs anywhere between 150 and 400 pounds each, depending on diameter. Multiply this by the 19 segments this sign is comprised of.
He's just built differently,
total range
like Red Hood.
Of 2,850 and 7,600 pounds of total weight making up this sign. So, with this information, we're left to assume that a 5'3" female with fractured bones had the energy and strength to not only cut down 19 massive trees with tools that were never found, but also had the stamina to transport anywhere between 1 and 3 tons of weight, completely by herself. Let's not forget either that all of this was done after taking a treacherous 2.6-mile diversion down the south side of the mountain, undoubtedly causing considerable exhaustion.
That's just my regular workout routine.
Without help, constructing this sign alone is an extraordinary feat. A feat that doesn't add up given the context
spooky,
here.
Kaylee, spooky.
So was this person actually alone? Or was there perhaps someone else that died there with her?
She got eaten. NordVPN sponsor. Yep, sponsor, I think.
Alright guys, before we continue down the rabbit hole, I'd like to tell you about tonight's video sponsor.
Alright, let me...
Incogni. Alright, so it seems like nearly every year now, I read about yet another data breach. Just last month, millions of social security numbers were exposed in a massive hack. Your information is potentially out there, exposed to hackers who could use it to open up credit cards, buy a car. They could be you, approving purchases that you have no knowledge about. It goes without saying that the implications of this are horrifying, which is exactly why I use Incogni. Incogni is a service that actively safeguards your information through an intuitive dashboard that shows you how many data brokers have your information and if you've been affected by any data breaches. After signing up and giving them permission to work for you, their team gets at it, immediately scouring the internet for any traces of your info online while demanding its removal whenever it's found. Go to incogni.com/Nexpo and use code Nexpo for an exclusive offer of 60% off. Once again, that's incogni.com/Nexpo and use code Nexpo or click the link below to take your personal data off the market. Thank you so much to Incogni for sponsoring tonight's video.
We all know
now let's get back to
what honey is, right? And what the honey scam is. Whew. Okay. Foam roll break. Really good.
It's late at HQ, and investigators are scouring for clues. Of everything they uncovered, the cassette tapes seem to be the most promising lead on uncovering the identity of this woman. And so, they put them in their tape player and begin to listen.
Yes,
as they play,
as well as their numerous bone remains
anime TV shows. However, once they make it to the last one, something strange gives them pause.
Sorry, I'm gonna pause this really quick. Say what you missed was through the use of, you know, a CSI enhance, they found that the bone remains were roughly the bones was roughly a female 5'3", aged around 20 to 40 years old, maybe. But Nexpo did some like sleuthing and figured out that each of the birchwood trees weighed between like 1 to like 400 pounds each. So like, how did this lady, mysterious lady, allegedly cut down like 1,000 tons worth of birch tree and carried it all and make that SOS sign? So it's like, was it really just her out there, or was it someone else? Yeah, she just built differently. Not only that, she also had to walk down like 30,000 kilometers down a cliff, like down a mountain. So like, I think it's aliens. shit. Just built different, like Red Hood. Yeah. Oh shit. Oh, hey, I was listening to that. Matsumoto Auto.
Despite the bones being female, the voice on this recording, clearly in distress, belongs to a man.
Mm-hmm.
And the translation: SOS, help me. I'm stuck on the cliff. SOS, help me. I'm at the location where I first met the helicopter. The Zaza is deep and I can't
Zaza?
climb up. Please pick me up here.
The Zaza.
Interesting.
No help.
Aside from the blatant parallels to the SOS sign, I can't help but find it strange that this man uses not a single phrase implying that he's with someone. I don't know about you, but if I were stranded somewhere with another person, I'd plead for someone to help us, because we are the ones stuck here. In this recording, though, it sounds as if he's completely alone, unaware that a female is stranded in the exact same area. Almost like, to him, this female doesn't exist.
Oh my god.
The woman who the bones belong to and the man who the voice belongs to almost exist in a vacuum. Remnants of two people discovered in the exact same spot, completely unaware of the other's existence. The only thing tying them together, an SOS sign nearly impossible for one person to build, and whispers of an agonizing death. A sight of demise that we are years too late with uncovering.
This could totally be made into like an indie game, right? You know those indie games that look like PlayStation 1. Something that Tolo would play, I think, during a Sunday stream.
Fascinated by this case, a Japanese reporter named Koyo Abaratani sets out to the site of the SOS sign in search of any clues the police may have overlooked. While uncovering anything new was one hell of a long shot, surprisingly, after they dug through some tree roots, they actually uncovered something. Just 165 feet north of the SOS sign and hidden under foliage was a large hole containing various belongings.
Oh.
2 cameras, a notebook,
That's cool.
and most prominently,
Ooh, driver's
a
license.
license. This ID belonged to a man named Kenji Iwamura, someone from Kanan City in southern Japan, over 800 miles south.
I'm liking this
discovery
one.
was massive because for all anyone knew, this was bound to be their guy. I mean, this had to have been the voice on the recording, right? And of course, this man must have been associated in some capacity with the female bones found at the same site. While she may be, up to this point, still unidentified, at the very least, those investigating this case finally had a name.
I like this
Kenji Iwamura.
video. I find this more interesting than the other one that we just watched. 5 years earlier.
It's the middle of summer, and 24-year-old Kenji Iwamura sets out for Mount Asahidake for a short hiking trip. He arrives at a small mountain lodge at the base of the summit and only plans to be there for a couple nights. Later on, he informs the hotel owner that he's embarking on a hike, ignoring warnings of a storm that would hit the area that night. Hesitant, the owner agrees, and so Kenji sets off from the hotel lobby and embarks into the great unknown. As time ticks by, the sky darkens. The hotel owner becoming increasingly anxious and with no way to contact him to confirm how he's faring in this unstable weather. Hours pass without a word from him. The storm comes and goes. The clock approaches. Days pass without a word from him. Weeks come and go. Kenji Iwamura never turned up.
Dang.
He was never seen again.
That's why I should never go out hiking, alright? Especially in forests. Just stay at home. Never leave your
With
house.
the discovery of Kenji's ID, police were certain that they'd crack this case. Reportedly, determining gender from bone fragments isn't always accurate, and for all they knew, they had to belong to him. From here, they tracked down and contacted Kenji's family, believing that this was the final piece of verification they needed to close this case. Their confidence was at an all-time high, catalyzed by his parents.
These
later
bones
claiming
belong to
that
your
he
son.
was an avid fan of anime, and that the backpack they uncovered indeed belonged to him. And so, at last, the police played the cassette tape for them, certain that they'd recognize the voice of their son. And as fate would have it, by the grace of God, they didn't recognize this voice at all.
What?
They have no idea who this person is.
Huh. So it's three
With no evidence of foul play,
people?
Hokkaido police, bizarrely, continued to run with
girl,
their theory that this sign was built
Kenji,
by Kenji Iwamura.
and
They
the
cast
tape.
aside the consensus about the bones, the lack of identification with the voice, and simply ran with it. It took just 11 days for them to close this case, and to this day, the mystery surrounding the SOS sign has been cast into the void of history, solved to them, yet completely bewildering to the world surrounding them. By 1990, the bones were re-examined, and the consensus underwent a surprising change. Reportedly, they never belonged to a woman with type O blood, but rather a man with type A.
Typically, Asians have blood type O, right? I have blood type O.
Why the hell were the bones suddenly reclassified? Who was the man recorded on Kenji's tapes? How were these massive trees carried and placed by just one person? And how were these trees chopped down at all? Taking a broader look at the landscape, we've established that the site of the SOS sign was reached by a diversion from the main Mount Asahidake trail. As we've seen, though, multiple hikers have done this. So how have they all made the exact same mistake? So as it turns out, there is an incredibly confusing landmark on the mountain. It's a boulder called Safe Rock, and it's typically used by climbers to orient themselves on their trek, as once you encounter it, you're required to take a right turn to continue your journey to the peak. Bizarrely, however, there sits another identically shaped boulder right next to Safe Rock, called Fake Safe Rock. Unlike the former, using this one as a guide diverts hikers to the much more dangerous south side of the mountain. Terrain littered with steep cliffs and intense grades filled with a specific type of bamboo, known locally as Sasa.
Zaza.
In recent years,
That's where the Zaza.
Safe Rock has been marked with a rope to signal that you shouldn't follow it. However, to this day, hikers often misinterpret it for the actual safe rock, adding even further confusion to an already disorienting situation.
Shouldn't someone put like a post
I'm sure
or something?
You're finding this convoluted as I'm explaining it to
Someone
you.
put like a signpost on it.
Now imagine if you were faced with this dilemma while exhausted, in the wild, and completely alone. To this day, it's believed that both the Tokyo hikers and Kenji Iwamura made this mistake, leaving them both to be stranded and completely helpless. So with this in mind, let's go forth and entertain the idea that Kenji
Why haven't they put
Iwamura
anything
was the
on the rock?
only
Be like,
one
this is
involved here.
fake rock.
Let's just say that everything belongs to and was done by no one but him.
He's just built
So
different.
it went a little something like this.
Hello, Mia. Loves Fortnite. Nice.
Kenji Iwamura begins his trek from the lodge and makes his way up the Asahidake Trail. Because of the impending storm, it's possible that there are few hikers up on the mountain. He makes his journey all the way up before the sky darkens and dense fog rolls in. He encounters the fake safe rock, confusing it for the real one, and makes a right turn, leading him south. As the day bleeds by, he begins to panic, the sky darkening as his psyche becomes ever more anxious. He recognizes not a single thing about the path he's on, and it becomes rapidly clear to him that he's venturing nowhere near the summit. Completely turned around and with no other choice, he continues, following some semblance of a path, even though it's only heading down. Is he heading back to camp? Are there any towns in this direction? Where exactly is he going? As hours pass, he becomes more panicked and begins screaming for help, for anyone to hear him. He falls off a cliff on the way down and breaks 2 bones.
Ouch.
And so, in immense distress, pulls out his Sony Walkman to record an SOS message and later plays it on repeat to save himself from damaging his voice. As he continues to limp downward, he encounters and crosses the Chupetsu River before eventually landing at his final destination, the flat wetland where he would build the SOS and where the two would inevitably remain.
How did he have the strength to build it? He broke 2 bones. How did he have the strength to build it?
You know, on the surface, this theory makes sense. However, when you begin to pick apart the finer details, this story rapidly falls apart. As we know, the only cliffs in the vicinity are up the mountain, and if these are what Kenji's referring to in his recording, assuming it's him, then he made it to the wetland with broken bones and in excruciating pain. Even if we give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he had every tool in the world, building a sign of this scale would take immense effort for just one person. It's been said that something like this would take 2 days to construct for someone healthy. So how in the world did Kenji do this while critically injured? There was no axe ever found. And why would he have one on a mountain hike anyway? On top of this, the condition of the bones indicated that he would have been incredibly frail by the time he passed away. There is no way this man made this thing alone, leading me to believe that Kenji Iwamura, perhaps, wasn't the only one to die there. Consider this. Kenji is on the hike, and somewhere during his climb, encounters someone else out there. The two are both on their way to the mountain peak, and so they pair up and continue their trek together. As the fog rolls in, the two begin to undergo equally critical errors, making their turn
I should have
to
got
fake
ads.
safe rock and getting lost down the
Sorry. I'll pause for the ads. Alright, so I had to pause the recording because people had ads. But let's continue.
mountain's south end. Injured, one of them makes a recording while the other pleads to keep going. And so they continue downward, cross the river, and make it to the wetland where Kenji lies in agony. It's possible that this other hiker, for some reason, had an axe, and over the next few days, made this sign
He's gonna murder
with
someone.
incredibly limited help from Kenji. Kenji knows he can't go any further, though, and so, in a final fit of desperation, the other hiker grabs a handful of supplies and takes off to find them help. In a way, this could explain why police never found an axe. This could explain why the voice on the recording wasn't Kenji. And this, potentially, could explain how this sign was even made in the first place. The human body can go 3 days without water, and perhaps this unknown person used their last in a final push for rescue. At the end of it all, though, they would never make it and instead would die a slow death. Surrounded by darkness, by wilderness, and in a forest, completely abandoned.
F.
Perhaps their body is still out there, but we just haven't found it yet. It's a tragic end to someone who may not even exist, but goddammit, it's the only way this story makes any sense. Kenji Iwamura had to have gotten help from someone else on the mountain that night. There is just no way in which he couldn't have.
Ain't no way.
I refuse to believe that there was just one person on Mount Asahidake that night. The circumstances are just too extraordinary for one to pull this off alone. The broken bones, the stranger on the tape, the rapid closure, someone migrating literal tons of weight after vital injuries. Everything about this conflicts with the reality of the situation we've been given. These theories, as far-fetched as they are the only way this makes any sense in my brain. And even then, I'm still assuming that someone had an axe, assuming that an entire second person was there, and assuming that this other person died and was never found elsewhere on the mountain. No matter which way we approach this, nothing makes sense without drawing vectors to things that may or may not have happened. And to me, that's what makes this incident so incredibly perplexing. The man on the recording never stated that he was with someone. And even if we assume that Kenji wasn't alone, the only way this story makes any sort of sense, it's almost like the two of them never even knew the other existed. It's like two people encountered the exact same spot, just on completely different timelines.
Alternate universes. Oh, someone called Marvel.
It goes without saying that we can theorize for hours about what took place on Mount Asahidake and how the SOS sign, given the evidence we currently have,
I think the
exist.
local squirrels ate the axe.
But out of everything, the one detail that haunts me most about this is the simple fact that at the end of everything, the police have never formally identified the bones as belonging to Kenji. And this is after they were reclassified to belonging to a male, after this story spread to the world around them, and after the mystery surrounding the SOS sign and all of its bizarre inconsistencies had spearheaded this into one of the most captivating unsolved cases in history. There has never been an official answer as to who the bones belong to. And to this day, nobody knows when the SOS sign was made and who in the world built it.
Yeah. Woo! Okay, that was really good. I like that one. I like that a lot better than the that creepy Instagram one, for sure. Yeah, it's weird. They never actually interviewed the survivors or anything. They just kind of skimmed past it, I guess. I guess there's nothing much to talk about if they're just like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. We've never seen that sign before. Really, Kaylee? Dang. Interesting. Wait, Matthew Mercer? Wait, Matt Mercer? Is it the Matt Mercer? Part of the Patreon? They may have seen that guy or some other guy on their way to the hike. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the two survivors? Possibly. Astronaut's aura. What aura do you guys exhibit? And what aura do I exhibit? Excuse me. This dog is vibrating. La Goomba. Oh no, that's not a quiz. It's just me spouting nonsense. Don't worry about it. Alright, cool. Before we begin the last one's like an hour and a half long, by the way. Kind of interesting. This pool table, does it actually work? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. E? Oh, shit. How do I... Yo, we're playing Yakuza now. Ready for this trick shot? Oh! That's why I'm the master, baby. Alright, cool. So what was the thing? Taka, you said you did some sleuthing. That's Kyre. Wow, you call Kyre an NPC? Wow, how could you? You gotta understand how'd you mistake the rock? Okay, let's see. Let's have a look at the rock. Have a closer examination of the rock. Not the Rock Johnson, but the actual rock. Let's see. Yeah, sure. I wonder why. Please tell me that they actually put a marker on the rock to be like, hey, this is a fake rock. You should probably not go this way. And 2015, 2016. There's a pie chart. All right, is this it? So which one's the fake one? Which one's the real one? The right is a fake one. Dang. Well, the fake one looks much more like square. It's like it's like someone chiseled it to make it look more square, whereas the real one's more like kind of misshapen, you know? Kind of looks like a Maui, like a Moai. The Easter head, right? Yeah, kind of looks like a Moai from the side. But yeah, under extreme weather conditions and when you're tired and stuff, I can see how you can very easily misjudge which one's real, which one's fake. It's crazy. What was the thing that you found out? Kotaku that Nexpo may or may not have mentioned. Oh shit. Dang. A lot less trees than in Nexpo's video. Oh, hello, coffee. Alright, well, thanks for that little bit of trivia. Okay, I'm gonna pause the recording here and go take a bathroom break, and I'll be right back. We are back again. I have some snacks with me. This is gonna be the last one they're gonna watch. Now, it's gonna be a long one. It's gonna be an hour and a half long, so strap in, strap on, put your strap-ons on. This is called Oakburn and the Misery of 1997. This is 1 hour and 18 minutes. Uploaded 3 days ago. Woo! Yeah, the hair's nice. If you compare it to the VRChat one, I think I have the VRChat model on hand. Was it this one? Oh, it's a, wait. It's the same here, but the fringe is different. Wait. I don't know you could change the fringe. And I don't know how her hair is so much more like wobbly here. Compared to this one. Also, I like the idea. Also, VRChat's eyes are supposed to be closed. They're not supposed to be open. But I like the idea that VRChat just doesn't wear shoes. Like, she's just barefoot. I think that's my headcanon. Yeah, she's supposed to not open her eyes. That's the whole point of this character is like she's not supposed to open her eyes. But when she does open her eyes, it's like you're looking at a dead fish. That's like the whole idea with her. Because she's supposed to be dead, I think. She's supposed to be dead in the lore. But like if she's alive again, like, you know, Goku, like Goku's dead, but he's alive somehow. I think the idea of her like not wearing, you know, shoes, like barefoot, and having like really strange eyes is like a pretty neat idea. It gives her the dare I say, you know, the aura of like a deathly aura. All right, anyway, welcome back to Nexpo. Zombie? Maybe. Oh, really?
For the past 3 years, I've been waiting to show you something.
Jacob, hello. Long time no see. Greetings.
An analog horror series that I wholeheartedly, with everything in me, believe is one of the most underrated, most haunting, most unsettling that I have ever seen. It invoked this primal fear within me, especially considering that I watched it late at night, lights off, completely alone.
I
allow me to introduce you to Oakburn Opus, an analog horror series crafted by a
Go.
creator named
Analog
Red
horror?
Diamond.
Let's go.
Within it, we peer in on a town that, on a random night in 1997, had vanished from the face of the earth.
Peyton, this is a good one. I think.
1,043 people went missing without a trace. And throughout these videos, we take on the role of a detective ensnared in this case.
This is Fatal Frame.
But as they dig, they begin to realize that not only are the answers here elusive,
No problem, Jacob.
but something in Oakburn is very off.
It's always important to play games with the boys. Have fun.
Now,
Who are you maining?
Oakburn Opus is meant to be a trilogy. However, as of writing, only 2 parts have been released. While the case, however, Red Diamond does have 2 other uploads, The Circles and The Starving Five, that appear to serve as prequels, fleshing out the world being built
Dear
here.
God? Voice of the Void?
Before we get to the Oakburn incident, we're gonna back it up a bit, because there's a hell of a tale to tell here. Grab that snack and cozy up, because you and I have a long ride ahead of us.
Yeah.
This, my friends, is the vanishing of Oakburn.
Loud sounds and oh, good. Ready for jump scares.
Alright guys, before we continue, I gotta tell you about tonight's video sponsor, Incogni.
Wait, Cogni again?
So right after Christmas,
3 months later?
data from Volkswagen users was leaked in one of the biggest data breaches they have ever had. Bad actors were able to gain access
Nemo is
to
sleeping
names,
outside right now.
addresses, birthdays, even detailed data of their movements.
He's making it very
essentially
hard for me to
giving
like
them
him
a
or love him
complete
because he keeps
profile
biting
of
my
his
feet
daily lives.
again.
To me, the idea of someone tracking me like this is terrifying.
Also,
which
apparently,
is, again, why I'm an avid user of
dogs
Incogni.
have a
Incogni is a
period
service that safeguards
called
your
the
info
fear
through a
period.
dedicated hands-on team
I
that
had no idea
scours
that was
the
a
net
thing.
for any traces of your data online.
A period
Whenever
where
it's found,
they experience
and it will be,
a
Incogni gets after
higher,
it, submitting legal demands to reinstate
or
your
rather they
privacy.
experience a
My favorite
heightened
part about Incogni is the peace of mind it gives
fearness
me.
to
It allows
everything,
me to
like
step
people,
back and chill
noises,
out, because I know that there's a dedicated team
sights,
out there
smells,
fighting for my
other dogs.
online privacy. Go to Incogni.com/Nexpo.
And apparently, it comes in
and
2
use code
waves.
Nexpo
First,
for an exclusive
during like
offer
2 to
of
3 months,
60% off. Once
and then
again,
again at around like 6 to 12
and use code
months.
Nexpo, or click the link below to take your personal data off the market.
So that's gonna be
Thanks
fun.
so much again to Incogni. Now let's get back to it.
But apparently it's built into dogs. Like it's a way to like keep them safe. It's like instinctual. I'm not sure if Nemo's going through it because he is barking a lot at night, more often.
Ethan Astor is a famous photographer from Itazovik, Alaska. On December 5th, 1986, his wife, Martha Astor, reported that her husband was showing a strange obsession with circles. He would constantly draw the shapes on the walls of their basement.
Circles? Wasn't this
he
a
would also
Junji Ito?
refuse to eat, sleep, or talk to Martha. But Ethan wasn't the only one dealing with such an obsession. Many citizens from Itazovik started to show the same obsession with circles around the same time. The government issued an emergency evacuation for Itazovik a day before this strange incident. All of Itazovik's citizens evacuated, except for
Which
the
shape?
ones.
Which
Martha
hole does
returned
this
to
shape go
Itazovik
into?
days later, only to find out that her husband, along with the dozens of other people who decided to stay, was gone.
Right, spirals, yeah.
Our video begins.
I think I've read all of Junji Ito's mangas. They're really good.
In a secluded mountain town called Itazovik, Alaska. A man named Ethan Astor reveals himself as the video's
Sorry, let me
creator
pause really quick.
and leaves behind a message.
Why does every analog horror series always take place in like 1980, 1970? Is it just purely because that's when like analog TVs and stuff were, I guess, were in, and that's when the technology was, and VHS and stuff? I guess that's why, right? Why is there no analog horror that's like takes place in like 2025 or something? I guess it'll be called like, I don't know, digital horror then or something. I suppose. Alright, continue.
Welcome to Itazovik, the town where I live. What you're about to see is my town's haunting. We're not haunted by ghosts or monsters, but by simple shapes.
That's the horror. There's not many analog
The
meaning anymore.
circles.
That's the horror.
They come every once in a while, and when they do, we evacuate the town. The people who decide to stay are never seen again. They will come in 5 days.
What?
I'll stay here.
And Jorkin for 5 days? I guess you're right, Taco. Oh, yeah. They're mysteries because they don't have the technology to discover it, I suppose. Well, I feel like there's still stuff today that we don't have the technology to, like, discover. Ethan, this is going too far. I know. Okay. Let me read this. I don't think... Is he going to read it out? I'm not sure. Ethan, this is going too far. I no longer feel comfortable around you. You haven't spoken to me or left the basement for days now. That's just me. By the time you read this, I'll be far away. Please seek help. Martha. Stop it. Get some help. 5 degrees Fahrenheit? How cold is that in like, real measurements?
The video jumps forward to the day of the haunting. We're shown the isolated exterior of the Astor home before we're greeted with an ominous letter.
They were 20? Oh shit, dang.
Ethan,
I don't think it's ever gone that
this
cold.
is going too far. I no longer feel comfortable around you.
Oh,
You haven't
I think I
spoken to
read
me
this
or
better.
left the basement for days now. By the time you read this, I'll be far away. Please seek help. Martha. Thinking back to the video's description, the town, as it stands right now, is solely inhabited by those obsessed with circles.
Why
This
not squares?
fixation seems to manifest in a
pentagons?
lack of sleep, of appetite and thirst, and effectively turns all of those afflicted into shells of their former selves. Ethan, a once famous photographer, is now completely
-15.
alien to his wife. But how and why?
Still, even
Is he
during
acting like
winter, I don't
this?
think it's ever that cold.
Following
Is that
this, we're shown various angles of the Astor home, to which we gain insight into the extent of Ethan's
I
obsession.
think the coldest it's ever been is like
Their home
-3,
is pristine,
from what I remember.
a far cry from what you'd expect given his condition.
-3 Celsius.
But as we observe their bedroom, the cracks in the facade begin to show.
Alright, when do you think monster's gonna pop out?
We head down a hallway and into the basement. A circle is painted on the cellar door, and upon entering,
That's crazy. If you
we
move...
find Ethan with his drawings scrawled across the wall.
He's just learning how to draw people. You start off with a circle.
We approach nightfall.
If you move down south a little bit where I live, it will snow a lot. That's the thing. It snows a shit ton if you move down south a little bit more. Good night.
Channel 5 signs off for the night. And just in time, because
Alerta. Anomalous event? Oh, of course. Clash it. Oh shit, it's the ring. What the hell? In the sky?
that night, an unnatural circular cloud forms over the town. And inside, Ethan is waiting.
Circles?
The cellar door keeping Ethan locked inside is broken open after an unknowable alien amalgamation of flesh and light completes some sort of ritual.
Okay.
And from what it seems,
Okay.
something has changed.
Man, people are so talented to make these. We should make our own analog horror. Oh god, the walls are turning into circles.
The walls warp and crumble. The fabric of what we understand as reality is now littered with circles everywhere you turn.
I mean, a hole's a hole, right? Am I right, guys? And girls? I'm happy now. That's nice. VRChat Lord's analog horror. Huh. The Eye of Sauron. The people who decide to stay
are never seen again.
Okay.
Some say they joined the circles. And now, I'm one of them.
But if you're one of them, how are you doing this recording? This is just a Stalker 2 anomaly. Hey, speaking of Junji Ito.
Uzumaki is a story by Junji Ito in which we explore a world afflicted by spirals. In the first chapter of the first volume, the tale narrows its focus to a man named Mr. Saito, someone who randomly noticed the shape out of place in an alleyway. As the story carries on, he grows an unhealthy obsession with the spirals. He begins to collect hundreds of them. He compulsively stirs his food. His eyes begin to twist. And at the end, completely out of nowhere, he creates a spiral of his own.
Oh yeah.
Contorted and mangled. It's of himself. Dead in his tub.
It's so crazy.
The parallels between the circles and chapter 1 of Uzumaki are clear. And much like the latter, the affliction terrorizing this town is never explained.
Like the funny thing,
it's a horror that simply exists.
is that Junji Ito's like the sweetest guy. If you've seen like any of his interviews and stuff, he's like the sweetest person.
No form. And
not Swedish, but sweetest.
To conceptualize what it is they're experiencing is by chalking it up to a haunting. According to Martha Astor, her husband Ethan was never seen again.
Based on what I remember, yeah, all of Junji Ito's mangas are good.
His body into a circular, sentient mass of flesh. Yet the most
not sure about the animator
of it is that regardless of his predicament,
apparently the first anime is pretty good, but the second one's like really bad because the production quality and animation quality is like there's a noticeable downgrade.
Itozovic, as they see it, is haunted by circles, and people are going missing.
Hayao Miyazaki. He's the guy that made Spirited Away, right? And like Howl's Moving Castle. That Miyazaki? I remember I watched this YouTube video of like, I think a couple of people pitching to Miyazaki the idea of using like computer graphics instead of like traditionally hand-drawn, and Miyazaki looked so pissed. He was so angry, I think.
Your quest for truth has granted you a void in your stomach, and now I shall punish you for it.
Right, he was like really like disappointed. Pretty sure it wasn't AI, I'm pretty sure it was like CG. Or like digital.
The Starving Five begins by displaying multiple illustrations. In the first, we can observe an isolated landscape with the eyes peering down upon it. In the second, the corpse of a deer. And in the third, we bear witness to a horned, three-headed creature. Interestingly, upon enabling the captions
what's
here,
the void.
we can observe a hidden message. An exiled spirit, rejected from the domains of the afterlife, damned with an endless hunger, a mouth that can't eat, and a throat that can't swallow.
I think he's
It
sick.
takes shame on its grotesque form, using every aspect of its unnatural physicality to lure and capture prey. Its objective: to bring upon the decay of man's flesh and ego. Now, hang on.
Well, as long as he's the one that wants to do it,
This
Kaylee, I
creature is
guess.
surrounded by
And not,
shame.
he's not being like forced to do it.
Circles, which leaves me to wonder, are they the only threat afflicting Atozovic, or are they somewhat of a precursor to something much darker?
There's a place. Silent Hill.
Our video begins on December 21st, 11 days after the assimilation of Ethan Astor. We're shown a cabin in the remote wilderness, and it seems lifeless. No power, no fire. No one is home. We are starving. The engine is dead. A flimsy wooden shelter keeps us away from the snow.
Make snow cones.
Heat escapes through the cracks. Our skin hardens.
Damn drunk in it. Oh, I need some water.
Animals sing and hiss, but nothing is
Sorry.
seen. We are starving.
I need to blow my nose once again.
Your quest for truth has granted you a void in your stomach, and now I shall punish you for it. This cabin isn't empty. There are weapons for self-defense, books and belongings, a vehicle completely snowed over and dead. The starving five are locked in this cabin with no food, no water, and no warmth, and staring them down, taunting them day after day, are the skeletal remains of a creature that once could have been food. I find it interesting that this takes place on December 21st, as, in my opinion, ample time had passed since the incident with Ethan. Perhaps this group was driving back to Atozovic to see what
Not
remained
really.
of their home.
I'm not like
Perhaps these
100%
five
fine.
all have a loved one.
I don't know
who
how to
stayed.
describe it, but it's like when your
These
throat
people
gets like
are on a quest for truth.
suddenly gets
yet
scratchy
something
or
out
like
there has stricken them, damning
itchy
them
or
to
like
this frozen
it's hard to
confinement.
describe. And then you find it hard to breathe because it's like you gotta like clear your throat a lot, but it's just like it's like spicy or like
Gary
something.
heard his lover's call.
Gary,
Natasha followed him
Gary
blindly.
loves you. Remember, that's what Faith says.
Alex dreams unquietly. I watched the rumbling snow attentively.
I actually feel like I'm getting a bit better.
We are not starving.
I was worse a few
Alone.
days ago when I was like extremely phlegmy. Oh shit, dear God. You know when you kind of smell nothing but like phlegm?
The storm picks up as the sounds of inhuman creatures echo.
That's kind of what I'm
throughout
going
it.
through right now.
And inside, someone is waiting.
Well, it's like boop. No one's home. Wake up. Oh, well. That's just the main mini
Now
screen.
fully awake, this person gets up and peers out into the main cabin before realizing that
That's just the main menu screen from Resident Evil 1 Remake.
door is wide open.
The
The
anxious.
anxious dreamer wanders unconsciously. Will you follow him?
No, I don't think so. Oh, gun's missing.
The video cuts out before placing us in front of a telephone 4 days prior.
Do you believe she's still there, alive?
Alex,
It's been a month.
Yes.
she's dead. This city is hostile. All it takes is one detour, a miscalculated step, and you're gone. But Gary still has, albeit naive and delusional, hope that we can still find her. And who would dare to take that away from him? This is the least we can do.
I suppose we will look for nothing and find nothing, and somehow that's supposed to numb the pain.
Perhaps people disappear and are forgotten year after year, and everyone turns away because they fear the truth. Perhaps the mere attempt, even if redundant, to find the truth can take us away from this melancholy. Tomorrow we'll leave in the morning. Natasha will give us a ride.
Hello, what's this? This is Nexpo. Nexpo on YouTube. We're watching
As we
some of his
expected,
videos. This is
it
the last
seems like
one.
the residents of Itazovic aren't even trying to fight back or understand the phenomenon plaguing their home. They're living in complete ignorance, blind to the reality unfolding right in front of them.
Can we watch
Perhaps
anime
those who
and
changed
like Squid Game
became
and VR
obsessed
chat?
with the circles weren't
Will I still
going
get banned if I do
crazy
that?
after all.
Probably not, right? I mean,
Maybe
we're still
they
playing
were
the game.
digging, trying to figure out what the hell was happening. I mean, if your town suddenly became a target of an inexplicable threat that nobody else was taking seriously, it's a safe bet that you'd go crazy, too. After cutting back to present day, we've left the comfort of our cabin. Something
Close.
beckons for us to follow. And so we do.
No jump scare, please. Almost did Dimitri. Cooking companion? Oh, eyeball.
We spot something in the distance, just barely out of view. And what greets us? The frozen, distorted corpse of Gary.
Oh. Rip Gary. Gary heard his lover's call. Natasha followed him blindly. Alex dreams unquietly. He watched the snow attentively. A teeth. Five Nights at Freddy's? jump scare. Oh, dear God. Shall we sex together? What? He's drunk in it.
As Dmitri stared into the night sky, something somehow had taken over his mind, pulling him out of reality and into a tomb similar to, but just slightly different from, where he came from. No longer was he outside. He became confined in the cabin with the physical manifestation of the creature we saw at the very beginning of this video. As it beckons for us to starve together, various missing flyers flash before our eyes. Dmitry Olov, Gary Uster, Natasha, and Alex Lebedev.
Stay out of the water, Bucky.
There were only ever 4 people in the cabin that night, and that's because the 5th is right in front of us. Alright guys, Ryan from the future here. So, quick thing. So the end of this video contains copyrighted music, and conveniently also harbors a lot of key points that sets the foundation for what's to come. I was originally planning on just showing it to you, but because of the music, I'm just gonna have to walk you through it. So, following this scene, we jump forward to December 22nd, the very next morning. We're shown the interior of the cabin before a shadow passes across the screen. We then cut to a shot of Dimitri's eyes, in which we can observe that they're not normal, but completely gone. This man has been robbed of his eyesight, his humanity, everything he has ever known, and is now confined with the physical manifestation of decay and rot, taunting him forever. Days, weeks, and months pass, and nothing changes. Dmitri pleads for his eyes, for food, for anything to save him from this torment. Yet nothing ever comes. And in the end, he has become one with the starving 5. A fate worse than hell itself. The ending here establishes that whatever victims find themselves wandering, pursuing the truth of those afflicted by the Atazovic incident are perhaps doomed to suffer a fate much worse. Nothing about your existence is worth anything anymore. You simply exist in a void where nobody can hear you, nobody can see you, nobody is coming to help. You know, at least Ethan got the liberty of suffering in a blissful ignorance. A euphoric existence of flesh comprising something that man cannot even understand. Yet here, I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Ad break. Hello again, Smile. Oh, whoa, me. Oh. Hello? There's a circle. Oh, circle. Yeah. Where's my ad break? Nexpo? Sponsored by Dark Souls?
And so, Act 1 is now under our belts. A tale from 1986 outlining an eerie phenomenon plaguing an isolated mountain town. People are dying, contorting into forms completely alien. And most harrowing of all, something has awakened, damning people into an agonizing, eternal existence. It goes without saying that there are incomprehensible horrors lurking around Atazavik. However, we haven't even seen the cruelest one yet. Something else is out there, lying in wait, and I have reason to believe that everything up to this point was nothing but a precursor for what's yet to come. Refill your drink and grab another pack of Oreos, because you and I are far from done here.
Germa?
And so we continue. Back down the abyss we go.
Act 2. Oakburn Opus 1, 1997. Chapter 3.
Oakburn Opus 1 begins at, well, Lake Oakburn. We're informed that in 1997, the population of Old Oakburn had vanished overnight. And in 2024, classified information from the Oakburn case was leaked by anonymous
There we
sources.
go, 2024 present.
A new light is shed on the case, which branches into countless theories, hypotheses, and discussions. The following images are based on the manuscript's findings belonging to an anonymous inhabitant and a restored cassette tape depicting the phenomena. What follows from here are sets of evidence pertaining to the Oakburn case.
You work cool it?
We begin by honing in on the suspect,
I did.
someone called Oakburn's flutist, and at first glance, this person appears oddly menacing. It's a horned humanoid figure that we
Darkwood?
can hardly discern in the distance. We're then given some backstory, straight from the Oakburn residents themselves. On a cold morning, the outsider stumbled upon our gates and quickly became a welcomed guest through the sweet and captivating melody of his flute. My people brought him into our village, a secluded place west of the Atazavik Mountains. We provided the flutist food, water, and shelter, and in return, the man continued to enchant our people with the tunes of the winds. Following this, the video transitions to a written testimony.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom, but you
presumably
can continue
the
watching.
other residents of Oakburn.
Hello, Pony.
The
Oh,
children
ads?
adored him.
Oh, there's ads right
Soothed
now.
by
Perfect time to
melodic
pause the recording.
blows.
I'll be right back.
Men and women respected him, and for the great entertainment and happy. The other
Okay, let me pause it because there's ads. I've now returned. Let's continue the. I was gonna say game. I'm not playing a game. Watching a video.
Following this, the video transitions to a written testimony by, presumably, the other residents of Oakburn. The children adored him, soothed by the melodic blows. Men and women respected him, and for the great entertainment and happiness provided by the flute. To the more humble folk, the flutist was a gateway form of art. As we're shown various illustrations of the flutist playing their music, we can observe a strange circular symbol emanating from him. And given the fact that it lands upon the heads of those listening, it seems to depict, almost, like these people are being sent into an inexplicable trance. Someone interrupts. He hid them under the veil of reality.
I already mentioned this
Impossible to
before,
breathe
but
beyond
I
existence.
had an idea of making an analog horror about ducks.
Keep looking. Do not follow the melody.
All right. Speaking of ducks, I haven't actually seen the ducks in like months now. I haven't actually gone out running in months. Kind of stopped going.
He adapted to our customs.
I wonder how the ducks are doing. They probably forgot about me.
Hummed our chants and honored our altars without ever voicing a single thought. The flutist used the wind as his words and melodies as his speech.
Last time I saw them, let me check my phone. When was the last recording or picture that I took?
Within the wind, it hid fangs. Within the wind, it breached our spirit. Within the wind, the flute burned the veil.
Oh, wow. Last time I saw them was October 5th, 2024. Oh, Nemo's so small here.
I find it interesting that Martha Astor, the same Martha Astor whose husband became obsessed
Nemo's so
with
small
circles
here, and he's like
over
fucking
16
massive
years
now.
prior, is now playing a hand in investigating the strange phenomenon in this neighboring town. Thinking back to the description of the Starving Five, we can recall that it read,
Oh my god,
"Your
Nemo's so
quest for
small here.
truth has granted you a void in your stomach, and now I shall punish you for it."
No, we got
Martha,
Nemo
by
September.
the very nature of this investigation, is on a quest for answers. And given everything we've seen so far, some arcane force is punishing troves of people across the Atazavik Mountains. This leads me to believe that Martha, by the time this tape is viewed, is bound to have undergone some form of punishment herself. Whether it's the death of both Gary and Ethan, two relatives undoubtedly close to her, or if she's since gone missing as well, remains to be seen. But what does stand out to me are the hidden messages warning
He's
of the
so
flutist's true intentions. Like we saw in the Starving Five, there exists a purgatory under the veil of reality, a place in which those afflicted cannot breathe, speak, or see, a place in which you're damned to exist, starving and freezing, for eternity. It almost seems like someone confined there.
Sorry, I have to
is
show you this
breaking
video.
through,
I'm not really
casting
paying
out
attention to this.
messages to
Sorry,
warn
Nexpo.
us of an impending fate. And so I'm left to wonder, is this Martha? Is Martha the one that
Oh, it's a
leaked
pony.
this
I don't know if you're
evidence?
still here. Sorry, I ignored your comment.
As it stands, the
we are
flutist,
watching
regardless of how enchanting he seems on the surface,
An analog
is not a good
video
person.
called
He almost
Oakburn
seems
and the
like
Misery
a
of
false prophet.
1997.
And
It's like
the
a
people of
recent
Oakburn
analog
are
horror
falling
series
straight
made by one
into his
guy
trap.
about the town of Oakburn that has a weird obsession with like circles.
In the next scene, we move on to
And
evidence
they
2,
did
an audio
a
recording
town-wide
entitled The
evacuation
Magnum
where the
Opus.
people that were obsessed with circles
We're
stayed
told that
and
in
everyone else left.
1997,
And then in
the
one
great
day, the entire
flutist of
village
old
disappeared.
Oakburn announces the
And the
completion
circle
of his
was like
magnum
friggin'
opus.
Sauron.
A presentation is set to happen Friday night at Lake Oakburn.
And then in the same
Hundreds
universe,
of men,
there's like
women,
a
and
group of
children
5
gathered near
people
the lake in anticipation.
got stranded out in the winter wilderness.
And
Cars
this
broken, they're
is
starving,
what
they
took
go inside
place.
a cabin, and then they get like haunted by this like deer god. And I'm not really sure what's happening right now. But anyway, I gotta show you this. This is way more important. Sorry, let me pause this really quick. I have to show you this video of Nemo. Back when he was like... Oh, I ruined it. No, back when he was like 2-3 months. Here, there's no audio. Or rather, I muted it. Oh, he's so small. And now he's like really massive. Oh, what a little gremlin. That's when he was really bitey. He's still bitey now. But he's a massive dog now. Alright. Let's continue. Sorry. I think I ruined this actually. By I think I pushed the stop button, not the pause button. Whoops, why is it saying no media is playing? Oh shit. Oh, whoops.
Welcome to guest. And like these people are altars to speech. Within the wind. Veil.
Got a tape recording.
The Starving Five is on a tour. Place in which those afflicted cannot breathe. It is Martha, the Buddhist one that leaked this evidence. Titled
I hear you.
Falling Straight.
Hear you.
And the people of Oakburn are falling straight into his trap.
Has anyone paid attention from the beginning?
In the next scene, we move on to evidence 2, an audio recording titled The Magnum Opus. We're told that in 1997, the great flutist of old Oakburn announces the completion of his magnum opus. A presentation is set to happen Friday night at Lake Oakburn. Hundreds of men, women, and children gather near the lake in anticipation.
Okay.
And this is what took place. As the crowd cheers, a monolith adorned with the exact symbol we saw upon the heads of the townsfolk glows.
I don't think there was anything there at the beginning, which is why I played it. Identity or identify? What did it say? Interpret. It's super hot. Super hot. Follow. Follow the stream if you're still new, by the way. Hi. Follow the music. Damn, we dancing now? Hey, calm down. Oh, identify. Identify, interpret, and follow.
Something isn't right. We're greeted by diverging paths, and given the instructions that were plastered in our face, we're left to follow. Follow the music.
No, I don't think so. Rule of threes. What's that on the left? Oh shit, it's Alan Wake now. It's Jesus. Is that buffering intentional or no? Oh, it's intentional. Okay, that got me a little bit.
And as we get a closer look at the flutist's face, we realize that this person, this thing, isn't anything close to a prophet at all. Everyone in Old Oakburn had opened themselves up to, welcomed and nurtured a demon.
Ah, is it cheering or is it screaming? Excuse me.
The morning after, Old Oakburn woke up to silence. 1,043 inhabitants disappeared overnight.
How did that person
After
eat?
quick and inconclusive
If he's like a deer god, how did he
investigations,
eat?
little evidence was found. The existence and whereabouts of the flutist remained an unanswered enigma. That was until 2003. The search for Old Oakburn's population continues.
Reusing assets from that SOS one.
Alright, so in this latest act of the story, we gain access to a leaked evidence tape chronicling the disappearance of an entire mountain town right next to Itazavik called Oakburn. On a random night in 1997, all 1,043 of its inhabitants had vanished from the face of the earth, with the prime suspect never to be found. We're introduced to the Oakburn flutist, an enigmatic presence that had effortlessly won over the hearts of the entire town. The townsfolk were so enamored by his mystique and musical prowess that they became mesmerized in a way, wrapped up under a spell of adoration without even knowing it. As the video progresses, we're given messages from an unknown source, warning us of the flutist's true intentions, before we realize that Martha Astor, 16 years after her husband's death, is playing a hand in this investigation. Given the clues from both here and the Starving Five hinting at this agonizing spiritual purgatory, I do wonder what the current state of Martha actually is. Throughout this video, we bear witness to a monolith adorned with a sigil, a circle with 9 triangles that begins to glow in red whenever the flutist begins playing his magnum opus. From what it seems, the interjections that happen, telling us to follow the music, seems to be a stylistic representation of what the people of Oakburn witnessed when entranced beneath the spell. But out of everything, what I find most interesting is that right in the middle of all of this, we're shown a random shot of an IPD police car. Why is it abandoned? And why does this tape make it a point to show us that it's here?
Anyone else
We
played a
know that
Belantro?
this evidence was leaked by an unknown source, and so I've gotta ask, did the Itazavik Police Department know about this before it happened? Is this why the case was closed so rapidly? Again, 1,043 people up and vanished. A monumental case that would undoubtedly have an entire investigative team working on it for years. It makes no sense, yet at the same time makes all the sense in the world. So were they involved here, or is this case truly as unsolved as they claim it is?
My obsidian beads fell apart, like the string, the bracelet broke.
He knows well his wicked ways.
Not that kind of beads. Get your head out of the gutter. I think that means think that means a bad omen's about
in
to
Oakburn,
approach me.
Opus 2, we jump forward to 2003, peering in on an isolated home 25 miles from Lake Oakburn. We're shown that the home belongs to the Lebedevs, a relative of Alex from the Starving Five. At first, things are quiet. However, something breaks the silence.
Yeah, I think you just need to get some, like, good string. Oh shit. Gun. I stood upon their blood. I stood upon the weapon. I stood before the flute. And the drowned city arose beneath my feet.
We jump to police photographs from December 10th, 2003, 17 years to the day after Ethan's death. Here, we witness the Etozovic Police Department investigating the incident in the Lebedev residence. Yet, it's accompanied with a strange message.
Dude.
The melody crawls in.
Dude, Anna looks so
the
good.
Voice under the veil
especially,
commands,
like, when she's
and the
in
vessel
full screen.
answers.
What stands before you, Detective Astor, is not a person. I exist incarcerated in a vessel of VRK. I'll entertain your feeble sense of justice. I'll share you my tale. He knows well his wicked ways.
There's a lot of these
crawls in. The voice
analog
under the
horror
veil commands,
series
and the
always
vessel
turn into
answers.
like worshipping a god or a
The
deity or
person
some
that
sort
has
of like
taken over this
religious
tape in hopes
symbol.
of taunting Martha believes themselves to be not a human, but a vessel, guided and manipulated by a force arcane. Contrary to what was implied in the previous video, it seems like the flutist's curse may not simply lead one to their death. Rather, it seems to warp people, turning them unapologetically.
My analog horror idea will be about the brain-eating amoeba water that takes place in
A
America.
call is made to the Etozovic Police Department from the Lebedev household. The caller confessed to having committed murder. Jackson and Oliver Lebedev were dead, their bodies aligned in the dark room. The Lebedev brothers, naturalist photographers,
Not if I
of
finish it
Etozovic,
first, Potter,
searched to capture
and then
the
I can be like, hey, they
landscape
actually
of the
copied me,
mountains.
and then
The criminal
I'll sue
was
them for
never
royalties.
identified. For the convenience of this investigation, the killer will be addressed by the pseudonym John Doe.
Jane Doe? Whoa, ZZZ? They finished it.
We make
Not
it
if
to
I
the
finish it
third piece
first.
of evidence in the Oakburn case involving the Lebedev murders. We're told that Martha Astor had performed a direct interrogatory of the killer with the proposed timeline to follow. December 5th, 2003. John Doe is led by the melody of a wind instrument emanating from Lake Oakburn.
Uh-huh. Disney parks. It's always Disney parks. I've only been to one amusement park my entire life. Conditioning? Well, I do need to go swimming today. I didn't go yesterday because it was too late. But I do got shampoo and condition. Oh, conspiracy, right? Gotcha.
From the very first moment the flute touched my mind, I was sure to have been struck by something otherworldly, roaming the depths of the lake.
Near the lake, John Doe encounters a monolith. On the surface of the smooth rock, a symbol was carved, a circle and 9 triangles.
I feel like my interest has kind of gone down a lot in this video. I don't know if you can tell.
I witnessed, in clear and inscrutable reason,
I mean,
the flute and the man.
I thought the beginning was nice.
From the bottom of the lake.
The initial
Across the
mystique
city,
about the circles and
millions who
stuff.
was there. He raised me in that instant as a vessel. The emblem etched upon the rock, the beautifully profane assortment of a circle and 9 triangles suddenly gleamed in crimson hue. The psalm wove a lamp, his desire in an instant made clear. In the flute, I'll discern the will of expansion which I was to provide.
After the encounter, John wanders the mountain for 5 days, allegedly in a deranged state of mind. Oakburn and the incident of 1997 was not the only goal the flutist sought to execute, and wiping 1,043 people off the face of the earth was merely the start of it. John, unlike the millions of others confined to this so-called drowned city, wasn't killed. He was conditioned as a vessel, turned wicked, serving an evil in which he can hardly comprehend. We jump forward 5 days, to the night of the murder. December 10th, 2003. John comes across the Lebedev residence.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh shit. It's in the dubstep now. Whoop, 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 whoop. Extra, was it Hotline Miami now?
It's common for many inhabitants of remote areas and hidden places to forget that their front doors are locked. A naive
really?
custom, often conditioned by the emptiness surrounding it. Through the window, I beheld his lichen shape. The specter whispered in evoking horror his unfathomable name. Morpheus.
The name Morpheus in ancient mythology doesn't exist. However, it bears a striking resemblance to Marsyas, a mythological satyr known to have invented the music of the flute. He was known to have played one crafted by the goddess Athena. However, given how his cheeks puffed up when doing so, she cast him and the
Yeah, but I feel like
away
it's so
in shame.
overplayed at this point. You know,
Later on,
I kind of liked it when it was more
undying
like
pride,
grounded,
Marsyas
sort of,
challenged the god Apollo
rather than
to a
like
musical contest. yet
mysterious deer
unsurprisingly,
man. That's a deity and a
lost.
god.
And his punishment,
Hello and bye.
he was tied to a tree
bye,
and
flower.
flayed alive before his physical form was banished forever to exist, of all things, as a stream of water. It goes without saying that the parallels here are abundant. Morpheus is Oakburn's interpretation of Marsyas, a much, much more sinister Marsyas haunting the wilderness with nothing but the hypnotic tune of his flute, leading thousands to their deaths
Yeah,
and entrancing whoever he wants, simply because he
everyone
can.
says horror is the fear of the unknown.
11:42 a.m. John Doe
Out.
furtively strikes the Lebedev brothers. Jackson takes a pickaxe hit to the thigh, snapping the femur, and is left debilitated. Oliver drags Jackson to the darkroom at gunpoint upon performing a suboptimal tourniquet.
Who's farting? Loud.
Jackson is murdered by pickaxe, and the sigil, in blood, is drawn on the ground.
The sole reason I stand before you, narrating my tale, contributing to your futile pursuit of a comprehensible truth, is to convey you his message.
Moida.
He calls you to the lake, your good friend beneath the veil. Visit the Cloud City. Your failure to heed his warning will bring the same fate upon you and the few living folks you love. You will drown, too.
I think Cuddle Bunny is a murderer.
We return to the dark room. The bodies of Jackson and Oliver lie in parallel, and in the corner,
Who's eating?
something stares unquietly.
There? Yeah, the pauses are for dramatic effect.
In defiance of John's alleged method of murder, the bodies of Jackson and Oliver were found in contradictory conditions. Agents at the scene first observed vascular marbling, skin discoloration, and bloating in both bodies. An autopsy analysis revealed pulmonary injury, insinuating that drowning was the cause of death.
So you all little water bookie?
I can't help but fixate on that bombshell at the very end because it effectively throws every single thing we learned from this video on its head. Upon arrival, police did not discover bodies brutally hacked away by a pickaxe. they did not find evidence of death by gunshot. Oliver and Jackson somehow drowned in their home 25 miles from Lake Oakburn. As an audience, this revelation leaves us with a conundrum.
Pulmonary
For
injury.
the past 14 minutes, we've entertained a killer that was never identified as he outlined the murder of 2 people.
Conditions that
He
affect the
describes
lungs.
in detail how
okay.
he found them, which weapon was used, even the time they died. Yet, according to the autopsy, this never happened. In a way, we're left to ponder on their true fate, ultimately calling into question the veracity of everything.
That's
we've seen
exactly
so
the
far.
one, Poshy.
We witnessed with our own eyes the motivation, the target,
Death
the murder,
Stranded
and the
64,
corpses,
yeah.
and there's photographic proof that blood trails littered the Lebedev home. This murder definitely happened. So who in the world is lying here? I find it interesting that these pieces of evidence, according to Oakburn Opus 1, were hidden from the public. I also find it interesting that after the disappearance of over 1,000 people, the investigation was supposedly rapidly closed. And I also find it interesting that after the call confessing to the murder was made, 2 police vehicles head out to the Lebedev home, yet only one returns. I think John Doe might be a member of the IPD, and I think the sole reason this happened to him is because he set out to the desolate Lake Oakburn to investigate the mass disappearance. The gunshots we hear aren't done by the brothers. They're done by him. The death of the Lebedevs happened exactly as it was described, yet after it was reported, the police who arrived there were murdered in cold blood. The only one to return was the killer, the vessel led by the flutist, and he's heading straight back into the heart of this investigation. The entire reason Martha Astor is being taunted is because she's the only one taking any interest in Oakburn, yet John, likely corresponding with her day after day, is always one step ahead in making this case nearly impossible for her to crack. The sigil drawn in blood is the key to the flutist's goal of expansion. That was how he was able to manifest inside their home. That is how he can spread his perimeter of influence, and that is the one goal that John will stop at nothing to execute. At this point, it's unclear how far he's going to take this, but I don't have high hopes for Martha or Itazovic at all. Alright, so there we have it. 4 intensely cryptic videos outlining a phenomenon terrorizing a small mountain town, leading to the unexplainable disappearance of thousands. The only connection? Sigils and shapes hinting at the birth of something sinister and an inexplicable grudge against mankind. Now, from what we've seen, this series leaves a ton of questions on the table. Why did the circles target Itazovic? How did the people of Oakburn truly die? What happened to the bodies of the starving 5? What is the reality of this drowned city? What truly happened within the Lebedev home? And what actually happens when cast under the spell of the Oakburn sigil? Now, this series as it stands is not over. Given the ending, an Oakburn Opus 3 was teased. However, due to a lack of exposure, Red Diamond had put the project on hiatus. I don't know about you, but I am intensely interested to see how...
Oakburn Opus 2 is out on YouTube, and I'll be now taking a very long break from the channel. I love to guarantee that a part 3 will happen, but it seems like the channel and the analog horror genre are at a low point, and I won't have as much time to work on these videos in the future. Dang, this is on July 23rd, 2024. Hello, it's Goose himself. But yeah, it is a shame that a lot of these like really talented people make like really good things and they just don't get the views, man. And like it or not, like unfortunately viewership is like a huge motivational factor for a lot of these things. Like even to me, right? Like when I have these video ideas, sometimes I just don't make them because I'm like, oh, you know what? I spent all this time making it, but like no one's gonna watch it. You know.
This all ties together.
That's what happens a lot to me
And
when I
who
try and
knows,
make something.
Perhaps this video right here may be the push to make that happen. Even still, though, I'm gonna do my best to piece everything together here into a cohesive story. There are so many moving parts, but I think we're onto something. To me, the story goes like this. (1986) Itazovik. The town has been afflicted by an otherworldly phenomenon involving circles. It is a regular occurrence, something that
1984,
happens
an elite
every
group
year,
of
causing
commandos.
droves of people to fall victim to it. Through flashing lights and strange arcane formations forming over their town, the circles seem to transform those obsessed into formless masses of flesh, and bizarrely, their remains are never found. Oddly, throughout both this and the Starving Five, we see remarks hinting at the fact that the residents of Itazovik live in this frustrating ignorance. Not once do they try to understand this phenomenon. All they do is run when they're told, which leaves us to wonder, why? 7 days after Ethan's death, a group of 4 people, Gary Astor, Natasha, Alex Lebedev, and Dmitry Olov, set out to Itazovik, and within just 4 days are met with a terrible fate. Their engine had died, their food gone. Heat becomes a luxury as it escapes the cracks of their paper-thin walls. And most harrowing of all, something had found them. A creature in which man cannot comprehend is stalking, luring the weak out of their shelter. Contrary to conventional predators, however, this one isn't doing this to feed. Rather, it seems to be doing it for pleasure. Gary Astor's corpse is found, blackened and frozen. Natasha and Alex are never seen again. And Dmitry, he's stripped of his eyesight and forever confined to a frozen purgatory as a horned creature eternally torments him. Over the next 11 years, it's likely that this entity had lied in wait, luring and capturing victims affected by the Itazovik phenomenon. But this wouldn't be the only manifestation of this incomprehensible horror, because as the bodies piled up, something was born into existence. A humanoid manifestation of the creature from the Starving Five searches for a key. An ancient monolith adorned with a circle and 9 triangles, as it seems to bear a power godlike in nature.
Yeah,
Now,
same.
we know from
Same
later
version,
on
yeah.
that its name is Marvpius, based upon the mythological satyr Marsyas, and we also know that Marsyas was flayed alive, the ultimate humiliation for his hubris. Marsyas, for his entire life, was a laughingstock, something banished to exist as nothing more than a drunken embarrassment to gods themselves. In a way, his story is the ultimate tragedy. He was a jester stripped of any humanity he had, immortalized as a mistake of nature. Marvpius, given the caption from the Starving Five, is the very definition of an exiled spirit. And because of his fate and the embarrassment he endured, it's likely that he now aims to do the same to man. A pent-up vengeance, per se. Multiple millennia in the making. After acclimating to their customs and hypnotizing
Congratulations
Oakburn
on
with his
winning.
prowess, Marvpius reveals his magnum opus, the ultimate awakening of an ancient sigil. That night, the atmosphere of thousands of people morphed from adoration to unfettered fear as they all became puppets, guided by the hand of a demon to walk straight to their death. Right into Lake Oakburn. The drowned city, a fate both literal and figurative, seems to be the flutist's own version of hell. An endless damnation stripping you of your humanity as it was done to him, left to exist for as long as it takes pleasure in keeping you entombed. The people of Oakburn vanished from the face of the earth, yet they're screaming, pleading, and completely confused, with no one out there to hear them. Six years pass, and an officer from the IPD is investigating at Lake Oakburn. And much like he stated, he heard the flutist's call and went forth to follow it. Unbeknownst to him, however, he becomes ensnared in his spell. Yet, instead of being killed, he's enlightened with a knowledge man can hardly comprehend on their own, before being instilled with one single goal.
Inflation, oh no.
He's instructed to hunt, to find a new set of victims to spread his perimeter of influence. And so, 25 miles from Lake Oakburn, he encounters a home like a beacon in the night. He brutally murders the Lebedev brothers, going on to use their blood to draw a sigil on the ground. And this is how Marvpius is able to manifest in the corner. This is how he grows in power. And this is likely the fate that awaits the rest of Itazovic. John Doe, after returning to the IPD, is leading the cover-up on the Oakburn case, and Martha Astor fails to realize that he's right in front of her. In a way, it's come full circle. A town already living in a blissful ignorance, afflicted by a force they can hardly understand, nor try to, is the perfect population to target. Who knows if the Oakburn incident could happen again? Or perhaps it will. And we just haven't yet seen it. You know, it was only 4 videos, but I feel like we've just ventured into an entire universe that I desperately want more of.
Alright.
Akin to The Witch, Antlers, even tinges of Hereditary, the
Now this is
atmosphere on display here is
the ending
masterclass, and I cannot wait to see where this story goes from here. The Vanishing of Oakburn is a tale that
So
I
that was
truly
pretty cool, I
believe
guess.
is
Kinda
one of
lost
the
me a
most
lot
unique,
halfway.
haunting, and cryptic that I have
Maybe because
ever
my own
seen.
fault.
It's an atmospheric folk horror
But
tale
the
with
20 to
hints of
30
Lovecraftian
minutes,
influence
20
that
30
truly
minutes seems
lends
like
to
the
a
sweet
type of
spot for
horror
me, at
that
least.
I've not
Like,
yet seen in the analog
for me to
horror
sit through
genre.
in one sitting.
In my opinion, Red Diamond has truly crafted something special here, and the beauty of it is that this story is far from over. So many questions remain, and I'm thrilled to see how future entries fill in the gaps and give us clarification on things we may have missed. Marvpius, the demonic manifestation of evil and hatred, even still, remains a mystery, and so too with the Drowned City, the vessels, the conflicting evidence, the potential cover-up, and the entire existence of an otherworldly phenomenon just living within their world. There is so much to unpack here, and I am intensely eager to see where it's headed. Please,
People talking about these
go
rather than
over
watching
and
them
give Red
myself.
Diamond some
Wait, what
love
does that mean?
and tell him I sent
A little
you.
confused.
And believe me when I tell you that when other entries come out of this project, I'll be seated right here. Same place, same time.
What's nice that
For part
Nexpo
2.
is giving exposure to like smaller analog horror content creators, because this stuff is probably not easy. Definitely not easy to make. I don't even know where to begin.
Assassination attempts. Redacted
I
takes
think
you down
we go back to like
up vengeance. Piled up. It escapes the of people to fall us to peace. True
let's see, where's it? Where's the tweet?
is how crack vessel find it interesting. And Martha. Alright, so there we have it. 4 intensely cryptic videos outlining a phenomenon
As good as a
terrorizing small
presenter,
mountain town,
but
leading to
50-50
the
on his well.
unexplainable disappearance of
Yeah,
thousands.
sometimes the
only
dramatic
connection,
pauses are a bit much.
sigils
And like I
and
said
shapes
before, I wish he
hinting
would
at the
speak
birth of
louder.
something sinister
Because it's really
and an
annoying when, like,
inexplicable grudge
I get why
against
he's speaking in
mankind.
this voice, right? I feel like at times it's so
From
hard
what
to,
we've
like, it's
seen,
so hard to hear
this
what he's
series
saying.
leaves a
And you
ton
can't really
of
turn it up
questions
because,
on the
like, other
table.
parts of the videos are so loud.
Why did the circles target Itazovic? How did the people of Oakburn truly die?
But I need to...
What happened to the bodies of the starving 5? What is the reality of this
Let
drowned
me
city?
go back to
What
the
truly
tweet.
happened within the Lebedev home? And what actually happens when cast under the spell of the Oakburn sigil? Now, this series, as it stands, is not over. Given the ending, an Oakburn Opus 3 was teased. However, due to a lack of exposure, Red Diamond had put the project on hiatus.
So, man, I really feel for this guy. This is July 23rd, 2024. Like, I get that you shouldn't... The main motivation for creating something shouldn't solely be because of views and exposure and stuff like that. But I do feel him when, like, you make something cool, or you think of something that's really cool, and you spend a long time making it, and then you put it out, and, like, no one watches it, or not a lot of people watch it. And you're like, man, I thought this was so cool. And then you just end up getting really, like, disheartened, and you just don't want to, like, do it. It's like, what's the point? Like, you know, views shouldn't be, like, the sole reason, but it's a good, like, motivator, I guess. Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah. That's not guaranteed the case though, Pashi, because like sometimes, you know, YouTube could randomly decide to like demonetize your video for whatever reason. You know, you could be doing well, then YouTube's like, oh, sorry, stupid like guidelines. Our AI bot has said that this video cannot be monetized anymore. Sorry, too bad. And we've had a real human. Yes, we've had a real human double check and be like, oh, yep, I agree. You're not allowed to monetize this. So, like, that's so stupid. That is true as well. It is hard to make a good analog horror that stands out because it's so saturated and popular now. That, like, yeah, like I mentioned this throughout this video, how like I was getting kind of like tired of the whole like trope of like, oh, it's like a god or a deity or like a religious thing that's like driving it, which I guess. But I felt like I enjoyed this more in the beginning when it was like circles and like, you know, a small town, and then there's like circles, and then it turns out to be like one guy, one dear god guy. Because it's hard to come up with an idea, and even harder to like execute it, especially when you have to make it yourself, and it takes like forever to make something like this, especially when it's like 10-20 minutes long, even 30 minutes long. It's crazy. Let me look at this Red Diamond guy. But my favorite out of the 3 that we watched was definitely the SOS one. The Japanese, the mysterious SOS sign in Japan.
On December 20th.
Oh, hold on. So, oh, this Red Diamond guy made a tweet 3 hours ago. He posted a tweet. the channel has seen monumental growth, and I'm so grateful for all the love and kind messages. Yes, Oakburn Opus 3 will happen, but as always, it will take time, and I want to deliver the best quality I can. Again, thank you. And then prior to that, the January 5th is when Nexpo posted a tweet about it, about the video. So good for him. Good for this guy. But what I think he should expect is for the growth to... Oh god, that was like doxed. But what I... Oh, you don't see it. Thank god I had it closed. But I would keep expectations not too high, because the depending on how it goes, the riding the wave of hype and growth is like cool, but it will definitely taper off at some point. The growth will like stop, and you will crash hard from that high, the initial high of like, holy shit, look at all this growth, it's like I'm doing something right for once. And then like it'll stop, and then you just gotta like, you just gotta, you know, keep expectations in check. But hey, it's a big boost of motivation to start off with. That is true, Zalpashi, yeah. But then again, I feel like most creators don't want to say that, because people will just label them as like greedy and only doing it for the money. And you're like in ads right now, so you can't even hear what I'm saying. But in any case, that was... Let's see, where is music? There we go. Man, lo-fi music is so good. It's so silly. All right, well, oh. Okay, well, that was 3 of Nexpo's videos. Hope you enjoyed it. My favorite was definitely the SOS one. That was actually really interesting. I like the SOS one. I hope Red Diamond sees the success that he gets, because his video was definitely really high quality. I just hope Analog Horror... I do appreciate how there wasn't any jump scares though. A lot of times I expected a jump scare, but there was no jump scares, so that gets like a lot of points from me right off the bat for no loud jump scares. I do hope for an Analog Horror that does not involve any biblical or like religious symbols or whatever, because I think it'd be more interesting. So what's gonna happen next is I'll probably stream again next week. I'm becoming German. Only one stream a week, maybe, if any. Probably stream next week when like Honkai Star Rail like 3.0 comes out. Tomorrow, Rafi's story and Nikkei hard mode comes out, but I don't think there's going to be any new like cutscenes involved, because typically what happens is hard mode for these events only have a small little epilogue at the very end, and that might still be the case for this one. I don't think they're going to add like 12 new like cutscenes, because there's 12 stages. So there's that. Reverse 1999 is having an update soon, I believe, and I think Angel Nala is coming out. She's like another limited character. And oh, we're going to Brazil in the game. I believe going to Brazil in the game. Brazil? Come to Brazil? So I'll see how fun that is. In the meantime, though, I'm gonna go like, you know, continue slaving away, working on more German stuff. I gotta slowly was that? I think it was an alien. I'm gonna slowly chip away at the tier list video, which will be out. It'll be out when it's done, which is probably gonna be like by the end of the year, maybe. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the stream if you're new here. And all that stuff. Okay. I'm gonna go now, fellas. Anyway, thanks for watching this. It was pretty fun. And I shall see you next week, maybe.